What if the key to living past 100 wasn't about a trendy superfood, but about a simple shift in how you think about eating? What if longevity wasn't found in strict diets, but in quiet, consistent choices made every single day? And what if you could start transforming your health, not by eating less or more, but by eating smarter? In the US, many seniors face a silent threat, not from lack of food, but from years of misguided eating habits. Overeating, mindless snacking, skipping meals, excessive sugar, and ultra-processed convenience foods are now deeply ingrained behaviors. Combine that with confusing diet fads and declining physical activity, and the result is an alarming rise in obesity, type 2 diabetes, muscle loss, and fatigue among older adults. Lifespan may be increasing, but health span is falling behind. But in some of the world's longest living cultures, like Okinawa, Japan, the mindset around food is radically different. There, elders live well into their 90s and 100s, not because of perfect genetics or miracle foods, but because of how they eat. They prioritize balance over extremes, protein over processed carbs, and stop eating before they feel full. It's not about deprivation, it's about strategy. In this video, the secret mindset around food that helps people live past 100, you'll uncover the science-backed principles that truly matter for nutrition and longevity. 1. Why energy balance, not diet labels, is the foundation of long-term health. 2. How protein becomes essential, not optional, especially with age, and how much you really need. 3. Why micronutrients and minimizing exposure to food toxins matter more than ever. 4. 3 practical strategies: caloric reduction, dietary restriction, and time-restricted eating that can reshape your nutrition habits. 5. A simple self-assessment framework to help you understand your current health status and guide your next steps. So if you're ready to ditch the myths and embrace the truth about eating for a long, vibrant life, hit like, subscribe, and share this video from Senior Health Source. This isn't about dieting, it's about living with purpose, starting with your next bite. Let's kick things off with a truth bomb that might surprise you. It's not keto, paleo, or Mediterranean that determines your long-term health. It's your energy balance. Yes, you heard that right. Behind every trendy diet, viral nutrition hack, or celebrity meal plan lies one universal principle that cuts through the noise. Calories matter. It doesn't mean you have to count them obsessively, but it does mean you need to respect their power. Think of your body like a financial account. Calories are your daily income and expenses. If you consistently take in more than you burn, you store it, usually as fat. If you consistently take in too little, your body begins to downsize muscle, slow your metabolism, and weaken vital systems. Either extreme can backfire. In fact, renowned longevity physician and author of Outlive calls energy intake the first-order determinant of health when it comes to nutrition. It's that important. And here's the kicker. It's not about what type of food you're eating first. Whether your diet is high-carb, low-fat, or plant-based, consuming too many calories over time leads to the same destination: weight gain, metabolic dysfunction, and inflammation. Let's take an example. Meet Barbara, age 72. She's always considered herself a healthy eater. No junk food, no soda, and she cooks most of her meals at home. But despite her efforts, her weight had crept up slowly over the years. Her joints ached more. Climbing stairs got harder. She didn't understand, how could she be gaining weight while eating healthy? The answer came down to portion size and energy balance. Even nutrient-rich foods like olive oil, nuts, and whole grains are calorie-dense. And over time, her total intake had quietly exceeded her energy needs. Once she began tracking her portions and adjusted her energy intake to match her activity level, things shifted. Her energy returned, her inflammation dropped. And best of all, she didn't need to cut out the food she loved. That's the power of understanding energy balance. Now let's not confuse this with extreme calorie cutting. That's the other end of the spectrum, and it's just as risky, especially for older adults. Severely undereating can lead to muscle loss, fatigue, immune weakness, and slower healing. Many seniors unintentionally fall into this trap, especially if they've lost their appetite, live alone, or are trying to lose weight too quickly. The key? Balance. Find your sweet spot where you're not over-consuming, but you're also not depriving your body of fuel. This is where your body thrives. This is where you preserve muscle, support energy, and maintain a healthy weight without rigid restrictions. Want a quick test? Ask yourself these 3 questions. 1. Has your weight slowly crept up or down over the last few years? 2. Do you feel sluggish, tired after meals, or unusually hungry at night? 3. Have you stopped enjoying meals due to fear of eating too much? If so, it may be time to reassess, not just what you're eating, but how much. And here's your action step. Don't panic, just start paying attention. Use a food journal or a simple app like MyFitnessPal for a few days, not forever, just long enough to get a clear picture. Track your energy intake. Note your hunger cues. Notice patterns. Because at the end of the day, nutrition isn't about perfection. It's about awareness. And when you start to master your energy balance, you unlock the first and most important door to healthy aging. Now that we've tackled the foundation, energy balance, let's move to the one nutrient that absolutely refuses to be ignored: protein. If calories are your budget, protein is your investment, especially after 60. Unlike fats and carbs, which your body can adjust to fairly easily depending on your energy needs, protein is non-negotiable. Why? Because as you age, your body gradually becomes less efficient at using protein to rebuild and maintain muscle. This phenomenon is called anabolic resistance, and it's a sneaky but powerful force. Even if you're eating the same amount of protein you did in your 40s, it might no longer be enough to protect your muscle mass in your 60s, 70s, or beyond. Let's break this down. Your muscles aren't just about strength or appearance. They're your body's metabolic engine. They regulate blood sugar, balance hormones, and even support immune function. More muscle means better stability, fewer falls, and a lower risk of chronic diseases. Less muscle? That's the express lane to frailty, fatigue, and loss of independence. Now, here's the golden rule. You need about 1.6 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight per day. That's roughly 0.7 grams per pound. So if you weigh 150 pounds, you should aim for around 105 grams of protein a day. And if you're over 65, you might need even more to overcome anabolic resistance and truly stimulate muscle repair. Let's make that real with an example. Meet George. He's 74 and recently started working on his health. He thought he was getting enough protein by having a small egg at breakfast, a sandwich for lunch, and some pasta with veggies at dinner. But when he tracked it, he was averaging only 45 grams per day, less than half of what his body actually needed. No wonder he was losing strength, struggling with balance, and feeling tired. Once he bumped his intake closer to 100 grams, adding Greek yogurt in the morning, grilled chicken or salmon at lunch, a protein shake mid-afternoon, and eggs or beans in the evening, he felt the difference within weeks. His energy came back. He could walk longer, lift groceries with ease, and even started gardening again. His doctor noticed better blood sugar levels too. And no, he didn't become a bodybuilder, just a stronger version of himself. You might be wondering, do I need to eat steaks at every meal? Absolutely not. In fact, there are plenty of high-quality, digestible sources of protein that are senior-friendly. Eggs, especially paired with egg whites for extra protein, low-fat Greek yogurt or cottage cheese, chicken breast, turkey, or lean beef, fatty fish like salmon or tuna. Bonus, you get omega-3s. Plant-based proteins like lentils, tofu, tempeh, and beans, though you may need more volume to hit your targets. Whey or casein protein shakes, which are easy to digest and convenient. The key is distribution. Research shows that spreading your protein intake evenly throughout the day, around 25 to 30 grams per meal, optimizes muscle synthesis and keeps your metabolism humming. Don't save it all for dinner. And don't forget, protein isn't just for gym goers or fitness fanatics. It's a lifeline for your independence. The ability to climb stairs, get off the floor, or open a jar of peanut butter in your 80s, that's protein at work. So if you take one nutrition tip to heart today, let it be this: protein is your daily prescription for strength, stability, and successful aging. Now that your plate has the right energy balance and protein foundation, it's time to zoom in even closer to the small but mighty components that often get overlooked: micronutrients and toxins. Think of micronutrients as the silent heroes of your health. They don't get flashy headlines like low carb or high protein, but they work tirelessly behind the scenes, fueling your metabolism, keeping your bones strong, supporting your immune system, and even powering your brain. Let's start with the vitamins and minerals your aging body absolutely can't afford to ignore. Take vitamin D, for example. It's not just important for bone health, it also plays a huge role in immune regulation and muscle strength. Unfortunately, most older adults are deficient. Why? Because as we age, our skin produces less vitamin D from sunlight. That's why adding foods like fortified milk, egg yolks, or even considering a supplement, with your doctor's approval, can make a meaningful difference. Next up, calcium and magnesium. These two minerals are vital for maintaining bone density, reducing the risk of fractures, and supporting steady muscle contractions, including your heart. Leafy greens like spinach, dairy, nuts, seeds, and legumes are rich sources you can work into your meals without much effort. Then there's vitamin B12, critical for nerve health and energy. Absorption declines with age, especially in those taking acid-reducing medications. If you're experiencing fatigue or brain fog, it could be a subtle sign that your B12 tank is running low. And don't forget potassium, which helps regulate blood pressure and balance fluids. Foods like bananas, sweet potatoes, and beans are excellent sources. Just be mindful if you have kidney issues. On the flip side, while we're adding the good stuff, we also need to be smart about avoiding the bad. Many seniors unknowingly expose themselves to harmful substances that can slowly sabotage their health. One big culprit? Highly processed foods, especially those packed with preservatives, artificial additives, and hidden sugars or sodium. Processed meats like bacon and deli slices, canned soups, packaged pastries, and sugary cereals might seem convenient, but over time they can fuel inflammation, increase cancer risk, spike blood pressure, and burden your liver and kidneys. Even everyday habits, like drinking from old plastic containers or heating food in non-microwave safe packaging, can expose you to endocrine-disrupting chemicals, like BPA. These compounds may interfere with your hormones, metabolism, and even your brain over the long run. Here's the good news: making smarter swaps is easier than you think. Choose whole, minimally processed foods whenever possible. Cook with stainless steel or cast iron pans instead of Teflon-coated ones. Stay hydrated, but try using glass or stainless steel bottles instead of plastic. Read ingredient labels. If it looks like a chemistry experiment, skip it. Let's take Joyce, a 71-year-old woman who began feeling more sluggish and noticed frequent digestive issues. After reviewing her food choices, she realized her meals were heavy on frozen dinners and sugary snacks. With a little help from her dietitian, she swapped them out for grilled fish, steamed vegetables, and berries. Within weeks, her energy lifted, her digestion improved, and even her mood became more stable. The lesson? Small shifts in micronutrient intake and toxin avoidance can lead to big improvements in how you feel, inside and out. You don't need a perfect diet, just a thoughtful one. We've laid the groundwork with energy balance, protein priorities, and essential micronutrients. The next question becomes, how do you actually put this into practice? That's where 3 powerful, time-tested strategies come in. Tools that can help you take control of your nutrition starting today without feeling overwhelmed or deprived. Let's begin with caloric reduction, the most straightforward approach. This simply means eating less overall. No magic tricks, no forbidden foods. Just becoming more mindful of how much you're eating. It sounds simple, but it's incredibly effective. Research from the National Institute on Aging shows that moderate calorie reduction, even without changing the foods you eat, can reduce oxidative stress and inflammation, 2 key drivers of aging. One study found that people who cut their daily intake by just 12% over 2 years experienced improved metabolic markers and better cardiovascular function. Take James, 67. For example, he didn't go on a fad diet. He just started serving himself slightly smaller portions, stopped eating straight from the bag, and waited 20 minutes before reaching for seconds. Over 6 months, he lost 15 pounds, lowered his blood pressure, and said he had more energy than he'd felt in years. But portion size isn't the only lever you can pull. Dietary restriction is another powerful strategy, focusing not just on how much you eat, but what you eat less of. This means identifying certain food groups or ingredients that may be holding you back, like refined sugar, processed snacks, or ultra-salty frozen meals, and cutting them down or out entirely. This doesn't mean you have to give up all your favorite foods. The key is identifying your troublemakers. For some, it's sugary drinks. For others, it's late-night chips or processed meats. Reducing just one of these can drastically improve your overall diet quality and lower your risk of chronic conditions like type 2 diabetes and heart disease. Helen, a 72-year-old retiree, used to rely on sugary granola bars as her midday snack. Once she swapped those for Greek yogurt and almonds, not only did she feel fuller longer, she noticed fewer energy crashes, and her doctor applauded her improved A1C levels. And finally, we come to a rising star in the longevity world: time-restricted eating, or what's commonly known as intermittent fasting. This strategy isn't about eating less, it's about eating less often. By shortening your eating window to say 10 or even 8 hours a day, you naturally give your body more time to rest, repair, and regulate insulin levels. The result? Improved metabolic health, more stable energy, and, over time, reduced fat accumulation. A study in Cell Metabolism showed that adults who ate all their meals within an 8-hour window had improved blood pressure and reduced appetite, even without cutting calories. And countless older adults report that simply waiting a few hours to eat their first meal has made them feel lighter, more alert, and in better control of their cravings. Just ask Richard, 70, who began eating between 10 a.m. and 6 p.m. each day. He didn't change what he ate, he just kept it within that window. Not only did his nighttime snacking vanish, but his sleep improved, and he no longer felt bloated in the mornings. So, whether it's eating less, cutting back on sugar and processed foods, or shifting your mealtime window, these 3 strategies are flexible, doable, and science-backed. You don't have to overhaul your entire life, just choose one path and take the first step. You've seen the strategies. It's time to take a moment to look inward. Because before we can make any meaningful progress, we need to answer one critical question. Where are you starting from? This is where a simple, powerful assessment framework comes in. Think of it like checking your dashboard before a road trip. You wouldn't drive cross-country without knowing your fuel level or tire pressure, right? The same goes for your health. By answering 3 key questions, you can tailor your nutritional and fitness plan to your unique needs. First, are you overnourished or undernourished? This isn't about weight alone. It's about energy balance. Are you taking in more fuel than your body needs or not enough? Many people over 60 fall into one of 2 traps. Either they're eating too much, often from processed or calorie-dense foods that sneak in through snacks and oversized portions, or they're eating too little because of reduced appetite, poor dental health, or the belief that, I just don't need that much anymore. The truth is, undernutrition can be just as dangerous as overeating. It leads to fatigue, muscle loss, and vulnerability to illness. A recent study published in the Journal of Nutrition and Healthy Aging found that nearly 1 in 3 older adults were at risk of malnutrition, not due to poverty or food scarcity, but from poor food choices and inadequate intake. So take stock. Do you feel constantly tired? Have you unintentionally lost weight? Or, on the other end, are your clothes fitting tighter, even though you haven't changed your diet much? These are your clues. Second, are you adequately muscled? Forget the scale for a moment. The real question is, how strong is your body? Muscle mass is one of the strongest predictors of healthy aging. Not only does it help with mobility and independence, but it also regulates blood sugar, supports your metabolism, and protects against injury. And yet, as we age, many of us unknowingly slip into sarcopenia, age-related muscle loss. That's why it's critical to assess your strength. Can you rise from a chair without using your hands? Can you carry a heavy bag of groceries across the parking lot without stopping? These everyday tasks are your muscle barometers. If the answer is no, or not like I used to, don't panic. That's just your body giving you a nudge to rebuild. Resistance training, combined with enough protein, can work wonders even in your 70s or 80s. And third, are you metabolically healthy? This might sound technical, but it's really about how efficiently your body handles energy. Good metabolic health means stable blood sugar, healthy blood pressure, and cholesterol levels in check, all without medication. But here's the tough reality. Studies show that only about 12% of American adults are considered metabolically healthy. That means most of us, especially as we age, are walking around with some degree of insulin resistance, high triglycerides, or creeping blood pressure, even if we look normal on the outside. So how do you assess this? Start with a conversation with your doctor and get your labs done. Look at your fasting glucose, HbA1c, triglycerides, and waist circumference. You don't need perfect numbers. You just need a baseline so you know where to go next. Together, these three questions: are you overnourished or undernourished? Are you adequately muscled? Are you metabolically healthy? Give you a roadmap. They don't just tell you what's wrong. They point you toward what's possible. And here's the beautiful truth. Longevity isn't about following a rigid set of food rules or jumping on the latest diet trend. It's about shifting your mindset. It's about seeing food not as reward or restriction, but as nourishment and support for the life you want to keep living. The people who consistently live into their 90s and beyond don't obsess over every calorie. They don't fall into guilt cycles or eat out of stress. Instead, they view food as fuel for movement, for connection, and for joy. They eat mindfully, they eat together, and they eat with a purpose that aligns with vitality, not vanity. So if you're sitting there wondering where to start small. Pay attention to how food makes you feel. Choose meals that leave you satisfied, not sluggish. Make protein and fiber your friends. Honor your hunger cues. Stay curious and keep learning. Because when you combine energy balance, essential nutrients, and thoughtful timing with a mindset rooted in longevity, not restriction, you begin to create a lifestyle that is both sustainable and deeply nourishing. You don't need to eat perfectly to live well into your later years. You just need to eat purposefully. Small, consistent choices, grounded in a healthy mindset, can transform how you age, how you feel, and how you thrive. If this message resonated with you, take a moment to support our mission. Like this video, subscribe to Senior Health Source, and share it with someone who needs this perspective shift. You never know. The simple mindset shared today might just be the spark that adds years to someone's life. Let's grow wiser, stronger, and healthier together.